Hi, I'm Anynewprovince and welcome to Net Benefits, the series where we explore the benefit of net decking in Pauper. Today we're trying out Mono Blue Delver, the deck that Magic Online player Combo 11408 used to win the Pauper Challenge last weekend. Before I explain this classic beast of a deck, I just want to remind you that if you're enjoying the videos, it would be awesome if you could like the video down below and subscribe to the channel. It's an awesome way to let me know that you're enjoying everything, and it really encourages me to keep making more Pauper content. This deck is called Mono Blue Delver because it centers around Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets is a 1/1 flyer from 1 blue that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card. If an instant or sorcery card is revealed this way, transform Delver of Secrets, and it becomes a 3/2 flyer. That means you can have a 3/2 flyer attacking as early as turn 2, and this deck goes out of its way to set that up. By going out of its way, I mean it uses some of the most powerful card filtering draws available at common. Those cards are Ponder, which says, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library, draw a card. And Preordain that says, scry 2, draw a card. And not to forget the most contentious card, Brainstorm, which says, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. These cards all do a lot of work when you want to flip Delver as early as possible and put your opponent on a very fast clock. As if we don't play enough card filtering spells, we also play 2 of the most powerful card draw spells in a deck full of instants and sorceries. Those cards are Gush, which says you may return 2 islands you control to their owner's hand rather than pay Gush's mana cost, draw 2 cards. You can do this at instant speed. There's actually a whole book written about it. And we also run Augur of Bolas, which says, when Augur of Bolas enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's a 1/3 for 2 mana, which is great at just getting its butt in the way if we're getting beat down on the ground while we try to kill our opponent with Delvers. This deck also runs a Faerie Package, which is interactive and also comes along with a bit of card draw itself. Those cards are Faerie Miscreant, which is a 1 mana 1/1 with flying that says, when Faerie Miscreant enters the battlefield, if you control another creature named Faerie Miscreant, draw a card. And it also runs Spellstutter Sprite, which says, Flash, Flying, when Spellstutter Sprite enters the battlefield, counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control. These fairies do a lot for this deck because they protect your Delver, they draw you cards, and they also provide a little bit more of a clock in the air if your opponent can remove your earlier threats. And speaking of clocks in the air, we also run 4 Spire Golems, which have affinity for islands. That means that it costs 1 less to cast for each island you control. It normally costs 6 mana, but often we're casting this for 3, 2, or even for free sometimes. It has flying, and it's a 2/4. Finally, we have an interaction package that is notorious for tilting players out and generating a very high amount of sodium. We run 4 counter spells, which just says blue blue, counter target spell. We run 3 dazes, which says you may return an island you control to its owner's hand rather than pay Daze's mana cost, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. And we also run 4 vapor snags, which say return target creature to its owner's hand. Its controller loses 1 life. These cards are great for huge tempo swings. They stop our opponent's good plays, they return our opponent's good plays to their hand, and they can even counter a spell as early as turn 1. The mana base is nice and simple. No standard Pauper duels coming in tapped here. We just run 16 islands. This deck only plays blue and it only needs blue. It's not too worried about the life gain because it wants to kill the opponent fast, and it can also counter a lot of burn spells with stuff like Spellstutter Sprite, Counterspell, Daze. So we only run the 16 islands. They come in untapped and let us play our Delvers on turn 1. Finally, we have the Sideboard. It has 3 annuls, which says counter target artifact or enchantment spell. This is great against any Boggles decks, even some Tron decks. It's definitely good against Affinity too. We have 4 Hydroblasts. This is to shore up our matchup against any red deck, really. We have 2 Stormbound Geist when our opponent is just too good at removing our creatures. We have 2 Deep Analysis when we just gotta go a little bit longer and draw more cards, and we're not too worried about our life total. And we have 4 Cursive Chains for locking down those early beaters out of really aggressive decks. So there it is, Mono Blue Delver by Combo 11408. They managed to win a whole Pauper challenge with this deck, but it looks very hard to pilot. I'm going to try to win a few games with it in a league, and I'll put the flashback videos up for you guys to watch. I hope you enjoyed the deck tech, and if you did, please like the video down below and consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. It's a great way to let me know that you're enjoying everything, and it also encourages me to keep making great Pauper content. Thanks so much, everybody, and I hope you have an awesome day.